Hi everyone, I chose to do child abuse and neglect in the education system. The reason I chose this topic was because I am going into the education field, and it's kind of something close to my heart because it's something that I wanted to research in and put in the effort to figure out how I can save a child and be more educated with the topic. So what the problem is? The problem is that teachers are not educated enough about child abuse and neglect. They may not realize what's considered abuse. Many times they aren't certain what they are seeing is abuse or what is considered, like I said, so they never really say anything. And it's most likely if educators and teachers don't know anything about child abuse, then they aren't going to say anything because they don't feel comfortable enough with it. Um, the other problem with the education system and the child abuse prevention is that students are not educated enough as well about what is right and what is wrong because something that's been happening since they were little is normal to them. So they don't really know what's inappropriate or what's not appropriate, what's right and wrong. A research that I found from 2004 found that 34% of a total of 200 teachers had child abuse education during college. Only 23% thought it was adequate. And then in another research in 2001, it found that teachers, counselors, and psychologists all likely blame the child for the abuse and question the situation. Including with the teachers and students not being educated enough, the schools are required to hang posters in the school that have the hotline number. I think most of us have seen them in the bathrooms or in the hallways. But I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I have definitely noticed that's the only resource that kids really have that tell them that there's something out there that can help them. But yet, if we look up different prevention programs, there's lists. Especially in Missouri, there's quite a few, and there's different fundraisers. But these students don't really know how to contact those people or know that those programs are free and will help them get out of the situation. So the solution, this is kind of the overall solution, and then I'm going to break it down to what teachers and educators can do, or the school district can do, I should say. So the first solution, as any article, if you look up child abuse neglect prevention in the education system, most of the authors that wrote the article said that educators need to be more educated on the topic, and therefore programs that help and there needs to be more programs that help the children that are being abused and neglected. The second one I found in a study from 1988, which yes, it is a little old, it is kind of historical, but it is still very real in today's world, what the article said. But the authors that wrote the article in 1988 stated that there should be a combination of interventions, comprehensive health and human services, coordinating prevention effort, and community unity to prevent child abuse and neglect. So with that article, they kind of went into mostly how it was health and human services that can really help get the word out and prevent child abuse. But whenever you really break it down, you'll realize that it's mostly everybody that needs to help. Everybody needs to be more educated on topic. They need to know the ways. So whenever someone comes up to you and asks questions, you can be like, yes, this is where you can go, or yes, this is a number you can get to hold of, kind of like what we've done in this course. And so I feel like that's, even though that's an old article, I still feel like that is very much the same today in 2018. The third solution found was an article that had done 24 studies with over 5,000 participants who were in the primary and secondary schools. The studies included programs teaching safety skills, body ownership, parts of the body, types of touches and secrets, and who to tell. The results of the studies were very effective. They increased the percent of people who were most likely to disclose about child abuse. And so they increased the individual skills and were more likely to disclose in the future if anything happened. Also, from that article, the strategies that they use that would be a solution for child abuse in the education system were to include support programs, education for parents, programs that provide alternative to corporal punishments, self-help groups, and so many other ones, and all of them are still mentioned in today's ways to prevent child abuse. So what educators can do. Educators can report it when they see it. The first thing that they do whenever they see any kind of inclination that there's child abuse, they need to report it. If the educator is not comfortable, that means that they don't know enough about it. And if they don't, they need to sit down and take the time to research it, because we are going to run into child abuse cases. It's just the way it is. It's what educators are going to have to go through, along with police officers, any type of doctor, nurses. We are expected to be mandated reporters. And if we don't report what we're seeing, we aren't helping anything, and we need to help these kids. So some things we need to research is just over child abuse, take classes such as this one, read over the school policy, and ask questions. If you don't know, don't feel uncomfortable not to ask, because you need to know these, especially if you're going to be going into the education system. Because the more you know as a teacher, or the more any teachers know, I should say, since we're all different majors, but the more we know, the more likely we will speak up. Because if we're more comfortable with it, then that means we're going to have more time or more knowledge to sit down and be like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. It needs to be reported. Something needs to happen. I need to be there for that kid. And going with that last statement, another thing educators to do is to know your students. If you know your students, you are more comfortable to sit down with them. They are more likely to come to you with their issues because they trust you, and they know that you can help them. You can keep them safe. So what school districts can do, the first thing is make sure all teachers know and understand the child abuse and neglect policy at the school. Even with the new teachers coming in, if you've already had a training or anything with child abuse, those new teachers coming in, they need to know about that policy. They need to provide more information on courses for teachers. It shouldn't just be in a passing conversation. It should be in the school policy that this is more information and these are courses that you can take to improve your skills. An article from 2008 has information about how school districts have a pivotal role in providing training to educators. And so what that means is that the districts can invite child protective agents into the school. They can include legal representatives in professional development, develop contacts with agencies to build report among schools, give the classroom guidance lessons, and school-wide initiatives. And my favorite one that they mention is the experiential role playing of potential cases of child abuse in training. So whenever they have their training days, they go and they do training of cases of child abuse. So that way, if you do run into this in your classroom, you're able to do something about it, and you know exactly what to do because you've already been through those cases. And I really feel like that should be something that's in every classroom, in every school, in every district, because I feel like that's something that's really important. And I honestly, before reading this article, I didn't even know that that was an option. So seeing that that is in from an article from 2008, 10 years later, and I'm still not seeing schools or districts do this, and I feel like it needs to be worldwide because it's so important. I feel like teachers need that ability to help a child, and if they go through that training, then they know what to do. So in my opinion, courses for child abuse and neglect should be mandatory for all, not only future educators, but educators that are already in the system. Even if you're 20 years in, I feel like there's more information, there's more technology, there's more resources, and I feel like every teacher needs to be updated on new things. And then my second opinion is that programs should be listed for parents and students so they know there's more in the community than just a hotline and fundraisers. So I hope you learned something from this. I was very happy with all the different things that I found. It was definitely mind-changing and very interesting. I hope you liked it as much as I did.